All right, ladies, why men are shying away from commitment. Let's get into it. And please don't be offended. Number one, social media. Social media makes you think you have a surplus available options. And I say makes you think you have because the appearance of may not be the reality. Hookup culture. Men don't have to commit to you to get the benefits of that connection. So because of that, why get into a relationship? And unfortunately, because men think that there are lower quality women on the market today, due to perspectives, higher body counts, maybe even personality traits, men think that women today are of lower quality and therefore do not want to commit, or are more apprehensive to commit, should I say.
Imagine this. The most successful, ambitious, and powerful men, the top 1%, are now avoiding relationships. They've reached the pinnacle of success in their careers, have all the wealth, power, and influence they could want. Yet, they're choosing to stay single. Now, let me ask you, why is that? Are these men simply too focused on their careers? Or is there something deeper going on? In today's video, we're going to explore a fascinating and somewhat concerning trend that's emerging. Data reveals that even the most successful men are stepping back from relationships. But here's the million-dollar question. Are women to blame for this shift? Stay tuned as we uncover the surprising truths and what this means for the future of dating and relationships. Let's break this down. You might be shocked by what we uncover. The rise of top 1% men. Wealth, power, and independence. First, let's understand the landscape. The top 1% of men, those who are incredibly successful in business, finance, or other high-demand fields, are in a position most people dream of. They've achieved financial independence, power, and prestige. In theory, they have the world at their feet. So, why would these men, who seemingly have it all, be stepping away from relationships? Here's the thing. Men in this category are constantly bombarded with opportunities, expectations, and pressures to do more, be more. Their time is precious, and their energy is often consumed by their ambition. The stakes are high. For them, relationships can often feel like an additional stressor, an obligation rather than a source of joy. But here's the twist. What if the very qualities that make these men successful are the same ones that drive them away from relationships? Can ambition and relationships truly coexist in a world that demands so much? Keep that thought in mind as we move forward. Changing dynamics in modern relationships. As these men navigate the pressures of success, we can't ignore the shifting dynamics of modern relationships. Men are now facing a completely different dating landscape than their fathers or grandfathers did. Traditional gender roles and expectations no longer apply the way they used to. In a world where women are more independent, empowered, and career-driven than ever, what does a modern relationship look like? While this shift can be empowering for women, it's also creating challenges. Many of the top 1% men feel the pressure to perform in a way that feels unnatural to them. They want a partner who understands their ambition, but the bar has been raised. Women have their own expectations and demands for relationships. Expectations that can sometimes feel overwhelming, unrealistic, or even competitive. The data shows that these men, highly successful and driven, are questioning whether relationships, as they currently exist, are worth the time and emotional investment. But here's the real question. Are the expectations on women today too much for even the most successful men to handle? Are women unconsciously pushing these men away by demanding more than they're willing to give? Let's dive deeper. The role of expectations. Are women to blame? Now, here comes the tough pill to swallow. What role do women play in this phenomenon? Is it possible that the very qualities we celebrate, empowerment, independence, ambition, are pushing men further away? Here's the data. Men today, especially in the top 1%, are finding themselves in relationships where the emotional labor is unequal. The modern woman is often fiercely independent, and in many cases, she doesn't need a man to succeed. But what happens when the emotional needs of a partner begin to outweigh the desire for an equal partnership? When success in the workplace becomes so consuming that a man feels like he's constantly playing catch-up in his personal life. The truth is, many of these men are walking away because they feel that modern relationships, especially those with highly successful women, are simply too demanding. The emotional labor, the expectations, the pressure to constantly prove themselves, it's becoming too much. They're choosing self-preservation over dating. And while some of this is a reflection of their own personal values, it's also a response to the culture women themselves have helped create. Here's the real kicker. Is it possible that women's heightened expectations are inadvertently driving these men away? Let's explore this further. The fear of losing freedom and identity. Another reason behind this shift is the fear of losing personal freedom and identity. Men, especially those at the top, fear that a relationship will take away the independence they've fought so hard for. Their lives are filled with decisions, power, and control over their careers. But when it comes to relationships, they may feel that they're surrendering some of that control. This is particularly true for men who are used to living life on their terms, being able to make decisions freely without compromise. Relationships, particularly romantic ones, require negotiation, sacrifice, and time, resources that many of these men simply aren't willing to part with. And it's not just about time, it's about emotional energy. The top 1% men often feel that relationships require them to give emotionally in ways that they can't afford to. They've built their success by being self-reliant, and the idea of needing someone, especially in an emotionally charged relationship, feels like a threat to their hard-earned independence. But here's the question. Is this fear of losing control a valid reason, or is it a deeper issue of not being able to handle vulnerability? Conclusion. So, after all this, what does this mean for relationships today? The reality is that the top 1% men aren't avoiding relationships just because of women. They're avoiding the complex emotional dynamics that come with them. There's a push and pull between wanting a relationship and needing to protect themselves from the emotional costs that relationships can sometimes bring. But don't get it twisted. This is not a battle between the sexes. This is a reality check for both men and women. If we're going to have successful, fulfilling relationships in today's world, we need to recognize that both sides have expectations that need to be addressed. Are we willing to meet each other halfway? Or will the top 1% men continue to walk away, unwilling to invest in something that doesn't serve their ultimate goals? If this video got you thinking, then I highly recommend checking out my next video on dating advice. We'll dive deeper into how you can approach relationships with the right mindset, whether you're looking for love or simply trying to build a stronger connection. Click the link right here to watch now. And remember, true connection starts with understanding, not just expectations. And that wraps up today's episode of Manosphere Daily. If you enjoyed the content, give it a like. Be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you're notified as soon as a new video is out. Share your thoughts in the comments below. See you all tomorrow.